Life giver and the keeper of life, blessed love to each and every one. Do give thanks for your presence with us. We glorify Emperor Haile Selassie first. Honorable Priest Isaac, your humble host, servant here with you. Yes, we have a wonderful sit down for you this evening in the Tiger's Nest. We want to talk about the power of the Nati. We want to talk about the power of the locks. We want to talk about the power of the wool, the power of your hair, the uniqueness of it, and its connection to the ether and to the astral. We're going to be going very deep this evening. Don't go anywhere at all. But before we go into that, let me just remind you of this Saturday, the 7th of August, 7 p.m. sharp. Yes, this is the third installment of the Living Gods of Kemet. Yeah, this is Ramesu the second, and this one will be the online contribution lecture. So just get yourself ready together in order. As you could see, the CashApp, Priest Isaac 27, that is there on this display. And also the PayPal is also available now, Priest Isaac Institute. So what you can do, you could definitely go below this video in the description. You have the link to both Cash App and PayPal, and you can make your contribution there for this lecture. For those who may be hearing of this for the first time, this is going to be an online lecture, but it's going to be broadcast right here on YouTube. It is not a lecture you have to pay for. You do not even have to make the contribution if you do not see the value of it. But the contribution is for those who consider that, you know, it is of value and it is worth such. So definitely you can just go below in the description and you'll find the link, and you could definitely make that contribution. And let me say as well, if you do not have either the Cash App or the PayPal, we definitely ask that you could still email us, Priest Isaac 27, and we can make available to you, you know, some alternative means and ways of making that transfer. So that's the Living Gods of Kemet Part 3. If you were there for the previous one, that was Samenkare. If you missed it, you can go right into our YouTube channel, and it is right there for you for sure. And the previous one was Tutankhamun and Akhenaten. I mean, both lovely presentations, if I do say so myself. I mean, I full enjoy them. And this Saturday is going to be the third installment, Ramesu the second, and I'm sure you will full joy that one as well. And just remember, man, if you did not get a copy of The Night of the Black Tiger as well, which goes into the divinity of Marcus Mosiah Garvey, all you got to do is email me, and definitely we will be sending you the copy of this. This is something not only you will full joy, your family, your little ones. I mean, it's not exhausting. It is very exciting and very, you know, filled and packed with information highlighting our prophet Marcus Mosiah Garvey. As I said, there's no charge, there's nothing. You just email me and we send it to you, and that's it. Give thanks. See you again some other time, straight up. So just email me, priestisaac27@gmail.com, and add this to your library, man. You should have it. It's The Night of the Black Tiger. I must say, one of my, you know, more favorite, you know, put together that we have here at the Priest Isaac's Institute of Holistic Knowledge. All right. So as I said, remember Saturday evening, and make sure you're in the house. We're going to be talking about the locks. You know, many ones locks up there here today, you know. I mean, when I started the locks, when you had locks, more than likely you are Rastafari. That was problems, you know. You locks in, everything is out of whack. So see, like today they're telling you, oh, you can't get job, or you can't do this without vaccine and this and that. Man, in them days there, you couldn't do anything with locks. Nothing that society, you could hardly go into their stores with locks. I mean, that may have been just a bit before I, you know, brought in my locks and my crop of locks as such. But at the same time, it is Rastafari that made locks popular. You know, the same granny that would tell you she don't want no locks in her house, she have locks now. You know, you could hardly go to the church with your hair plait or uncombed. Now the preacher have locks. So locks have come a long way. But what is the sacredness of locks, or what is so sacred about the locks, maybe I should say? Because ones actually believe there was an individual that was telling me that they're not Rastafari, and they believe that no one should have locks if they're not Rastafari. That was just their opinion. And as I said, the locks is a very broad thing at the same time. As you could see here, this is from the ancient time, from ancient sea. This is from obviously the walls of East Africa, the walls of Kemet. And of course, you know, the reason why Kemet is always used as some sort of standard is because as far as archaeology can carry us going back, it's Kemet. Anthropology would carry you to the highlands of Ethiopia. But as far as archaeology and civilization, you know, Kemet, as far as our studies and research thus far, is the outstanding area. So really, as you could see, Lox is already something that is of renown in the ancient time. You know, you could see on many reliefs and many walls, you see the kings and the queens and the noble ones and the governors with their locks. It's something that was natural. It was something that was all over, different levels of the locks, not just in ancient Egypt, all over Africa. It was just a natural thing. You know, when we did the program on Semenkare a few evenings ago, we showed you that even Semenkare had his locks. And Queen Taya, Tai and Kia, I should say, Kia and Tai, they all had their locks as well. Wonderful. And then we highlight even many of the ancient kings would have their locks as well. This is Amen, what's his name here again now? Amenheb, Amenenhet.
Yes, Amenemhet the third.
Amenenhet the third. Give me that again.
Amenemhet the third.
Give thanks for the honorable princess. So even him with his heavy locks there, you know, looking like a real warrior, even on the battlefield, you know, give thanks. So when you comprehend the science of the locks is from anciency, the Mau Mau warriors, many ones would credit the Rastafari even taking up the tradition of the locks from the Mau Mau when seeing them standing against the British. Our good brother that was with us a few evenings ago, we were talking a bit of that tradition and the dreadlocks tradition of the Mau Mau. I also did a program, for those of you who could remember, those of you who did not see it, you could go on my YouTube channel and check it out, where I spoke about the Indian influence in Rastafari as it relates to the locks and many other things, the marijuana and such and such and such. You should check that out because many ones are of that opinion that the Indians were the one, from India itself I'm talking, that influenced Rastafari as far as them taking up that tradition of the locks. And from my perspective, as I highlighted to you, obviously, Africa, I mean, locks is an African tradition for sure. So this is something we had in our DNA from long time. And we also showed you in that episode on YouTube that the African influence in India is extremely strong. Even the Bible speaks about the kingdom of Ethiopia going as far onto India in the book of Esther. And we showed you, you know, reliefs and pictures of the noble ones from Africa, black people, turban and chalice in hand, smoking with the Indian people as such. Bodhidharma carrying kung fu to them, and all of these different things to China and all of these different ones. So even those that had the locks, the Hindus and these ones that were carrying the locks, that they say Rastafari got some influence from, and I wouldn't discard that. You know, I'm not that romantic on the whole vibes. If that's the case, that's the case. But the reality is that they got that tradition from us originally as Africans, for real, obviously. Because keeping in mind, you know, the locks technically is a very black thing. You know, just the terminology. I'm not being what people want to call racist here. You know? People flip a lot when you try to talk the truth. Locks is a black people thing, you know, man. It's not stick man here, stick together. It locks. It like literally, you just leave it alone and the lock of the hair, because, you know, the natural lock, what we call the ninth ether itself, that's the antenna. You know, the spiral in the antenna is much better than the spiral of the straight antenna. You know, it connects more with the frequency of what you're trying to pull to you. So the spiral now, the natural lock of the black man here, the original man here, when you leave the here, it just twirl up into each other and naturally lock into each other. They were saying that a lock of hair is a strand of hair. If you look into some encyclopedias, they tell you a lock of hair is a strand of hair. You know, now Samson had 7 locks, you know, 7 of them. I know it's not 7 strand of hair. Samson had it. It's 7 locks. So the black man here just naturally has that locking tendency. He doesn't have to do too much to it. If anything, he might just have to start to maneuver it, you know, to get, if it's 7 locks, he want like Samson or 9 or 1, or he leaving it, whatever. It's a bit different. No, when you observe that science now, biblically as well, as I mentioned, Samson, in the Bible, it talks about Samson and his 7 locks. You see here, before we go to that, we always, even in our high standard of, you know, executives, you see us even grooming the locks here. And the honorable one sipping on tea. And this empress here, obviously in her fall, you see, the ancient Mary fall. You know, I think this is an empress here, princess. Or this is what's going on here. This is an empress. Oh yeah, I would think so. It looks, yeah, yes, yeah,
looks so, because some empresses have that.
Yes, definitely, and the type of, yes. And but this one here, who's doing the locking, she has on her fall. So the fall is a very ancient thing as well. The ancient Mary fall. This is very prominent in ancient Kemet. Even the goddesses would wear their fall. So we're looking at the locks, we're looking at the fall. Even the turban is around too. So on a biblical level, as I'm saying, and I have some deep information I want to show you, really going into the depths of the science of the here in a moment. So we've just begun. All right. So really, again, I mentioned Samson and Samuel of the scriptures. Both of them are Samson and Samuel and Sam, the son of Sam. One is God and one is the son of God. It's a mystic science, really, but the both of them is Samuel and Samson. And of course, Samuel, just like Samson. Most people know of the story of Samson with the 7 locks, and Delilah cut the locks and he loses his power, and only when his hair start to grow back, he gets stronger again. Yes, we know the story. Good. But Samuel now, many ones somewhat overlook that. That's a dreadlocks himself too. The prophet Samuel also in his own persona, the priest. So what happened now is that at his birth, his parents were told by the angel not to cut his hair. No razor shall come upon Samuel's hair, no funny drink and no funny food, you know what I mean? Because he shall be a Nazarite unto Haile Selassie the first. So Samuel now never cut his hair. He's the next dreadlocks god. Same thing with John the Baptizer. You know, some people say John the Baptist, you know, but he was not a Baptist as such. He was a baptizer. You know, it's like you're giving him a religion there, making him an evangelist now. You know, the Pentecost. John the Baptist, first or second Baptist, which one? So anyway, John the Baptizer still, you know, what happened here now, he himself was a one that from birth, he was never, no razor came upon his head. He's the next dreadlocks one. And at the same time, there are many ones like that in the Bible that may not be highlighted as dreadlocks, but it is clear. Moses is another one. Aaron, his brother, his beard went to the skirts of his garments, according to Psalms 133, to the skirts of his robe. That's on the ground, you know, Aaron beard rubbing on the ground. I could imagine people have to carry that for Aaron, maybe, you know, so you could see the height. So if his beard going so far, you could imagine he's the high priest, he's the real Nazarite. You know, he was told not to uncover his head. You know, that is the high priest that wear the turban. And then you have a situation where Ezekiel said he was taken up into the heavens. and an angel grabbed him by one of his locks. That scripture alone just show he had locks. If that wasn't there, maybe people would be debating about it, but that clearly showed that Ezekiel had locks if an angel can grab him by one of his locks up in the heavens. So, I mean, you could pull out more scriptures, you know, they're there that highlight, you know, the whole aspect of the dreadlocks in the Old Testament, the Christ himself, the Messiah, our next dreadlock individual as well. And, you know, Absalom, everybody know Absalom, they said his pool is here every now and again because his locks was growing so long. And these are just people just that just happened to get highlighted with the whole science of them carrying the dreadlocks. So the point is really that the dreadlocks is agency. I didn't even touch upon the Nazarite vow. We're in the Nazarite vow in number 6, really, as many ones would say that is the foundation of where Rastafari would have had their locks. So you have the Nazarite vow, which speaks of the locks for sure. You have the Bitawi, pardon me. You have the Mau Mau in Kenya. And then you have the influence from the Indians, which is, these are the 3 that people say Rastafari got their influence from. And even as I said, Batawi as well, although that doesn't come up really too much in the influence for Rastafari, that's a very important aspect of the locks and the agency of the locks and those who would have carried the tradition. All right, so we have covered a bit, I'm sure, as it relates. Even Elijah shouldn't leave out that. You know, when they were looking for Elijah, oh no, when Elijah showed up, you know, Elijah, they were saying, they were showing the king, man, this man come and showing himself, and they were asking if he was a hairy man. Oh no, the king said, describe him, I think. And the man said he was a hairy man. He said, Elijah. So a hairy man, you know, hairy man, dreadlocks. All right, this is from the foreverconscious.com site here. I'm not going to keep it forever. The healing powers of hair. Did you know that the hair on your head actually has healing powers? Actually, the hair on your entire body has healing powers. Yes, even those little chinny chin hairs. Think about the situation you get or sensation you get when your hairs stand on end. This usually happens when you instinctively know that something is not right. What are your hairs trying to tell you? Pardon me, that's a question. It is believed that the tips of your hair, let's listen, it is believed that the tips of your hair are like antennae. That's antennae or antenna. That gather energy. Antennae that gather energy from the universe in order to stimulate high levels of consciousness and creativity. You see, family, I give thanks for the young prince and princess in the tiger's nest with the chief tiger here. As you could see many times upon many times, it is their wisdom and knowledge that the eye have to lean upon to make sure that the ship sails properly. I give thanks for as I am their teacher, so are they my teacher for many things they know they have gathered on their own. And I give thanks for their presence and the strength that I receive from such. So it is showing you here that the tip of the hair, even if it's down to the chinny chin, antennae, antenna, and plural form. And what's going on here is gathering energy from the universe in order to stimulate higher levels of consciousness and creativity. The hair, man. Wow. Here is a natural extension. Follow this number. Here, right here. The etymology, them people do not play the man. Right here, right here. Here is a natural extension of the nervous system and is said to transmit important information to the brain. It is also believed to balance the entire electromagnetic field in your body, which in turn can help you to increase your life force, vitality, and intuition. All of that is happening with your hair. All right. Many years ago, let me go, no, hold on, before I go there. You check what's going on here. So this is showing you now that the hair, first of all, is a natural extension of your nervous system. Your nervous system is from your brain down to your spine and all of them things we have there going on. Nerve endings and all of that stuff there. That's your nervous system. Your nervous system is electricity going back and forth. That's how you function. Your nervous system, your hair, your wool, in the case of the black man. And let me be clear here, because some of us, I don't really want to get too far, but some of us think very pathetic. We see it all the time in the expression. And we try to pretend, and even try to bring the emperor into this conversation. The emperor said we're all the same and all of that. We're on a different level here. We can't waste time with them dead conversation here. You check it. What we refer to as the African man has a different hair structure, all of them, than the Indian, than the Caucasian or European, than the Chinese and Japanese, let's say Oriental, just put them in that ball. All of them phrases still Oriental, and so doesn't really apply to these people, no offense, but Oriental is a more ancient term for the Africans too. The people from the Orient, the origin. They call Japan the land of the rising sun. That depends on where you draw the line for the sun to rise. Eskimos, Mayan Indians, any type of people you call outside of the African, the hair structure is different than the African. The Africans grow and curl. It doesn't just grow out and fall down and go down to the earth. That's just the reality. You ever see Cousin It on the Addams Family? That's with all the hair coming down. That's how Marcus, Mosiah, Garvey, and so teach us that we found the Europeans coming out of the cave. You know what I mean? But if I and I have to leave our hair is real juggling booty, you're gonna see, without anything. You ain't gotta put no dull in it. You don't have to put no aloes in it. You don't have to shake it out. No clam and cherry, no turkleberry, no hibiscus. You don't have to go to no saloon, no free loxing, none of them things. Just leave it alone. Yeah. The loxing. And that is important. It is important because it adds to the science of what we're talking about. It adds to the science. Who want to feel offended in their little feelings, that's them. We don't have no time to play with feelings. We deal with reality. So the black man locks or the black man wool is that's what it is, the original man. I didn't tamper with nature. The original man have the original hair. Your hair, that's how you hear it, by your hair. But look, we're reading it there. that this is what is connected to the ether. Insects, there have some insects that use the antenna to hear and sense things, all smell and so. With the antenna is antennae. All right. So when you use that energy there is the same thing like ours. So we hear with our ear. That's why here H-A-I-R without the H is A-I-R, ear. Because they hear in the ear. So you can hear. Because you hear with your ear. And ear, E-A-R, ear, have a very similar sound to ear. That the hear. You hear, you know, hear. Many years ago, cutting hair was unheard of, as it was believed to be an important extension of identity and heritage. In fact, hear this one here. In fact, you're not going to believe this here. In fact, let me tell you, only slaves would have their hair cut, as it was believed to punish them into submission and take away their energy and power. When Genghis Khan, we were just speaking about him a moment ago, conquered China, he also ordered the people to cut their hair and have bangs, as this believed to inhibit the development of their third eye, intuition and knowledge. So imagine that. So by destroying the force of the hair or cutting the hair, your whole third eye, or what we call first eye, intuition and everything gets gets distorted, really. It's the same thing with writing with your so-called left hand, the article hand. They have it well tied down in slavery, man. You must write with this right hand. That's why it's called the right hand. Just saying that this is the right hand, subconsciously you're saying that this is the wrong hand. Left hand, say left it, gone. They leave it alone, left. These killers understand the science. You see, we playing around, you know. We're not serious. We're not serious. Which one are serious? We're not serious. We're not serious. If you think you're serious, stop lying to yourself. We're not serious. We irate. We just cool and yeah, go for a drive. We just joking around. We ain't no serious about nothing. Yeah, trust me, we ain't no serious. Take it from me, we ain't no serious. Yeah. All right, now let us just continue this here quickly. To this day, there are many cultures that do not believe in cutting hair in order to conserve energy and spiritual abilities. The Native American, for example, believe that through their hair they can connect to nature and the life force around them. It was also proven during the Vietnam War that Native Americans with longer hair, it was also proven already, the test has been carried out, during the Vietnam War that Native Americans with longer hair were able to scout the land using their intuition better than those in similar tribes who had their hair cut. All right, even the Native American descent, they go fight Vietnamese war too. The Sikhs culture also believe that cutting hair can inhibit spiritual development and can lead to poor health. They instead tie their hair in what is known as a rishi knot. I'm going to speak a bit about that in a moment. A rishi knot on the top of their heads. This is believed to help control and regulate the flow of energy through the body and can assist in attaining higher levels of consciousness. All right, and then he goes a little into, Samson and Delilah. I think we know that. All right, I think we had enough of this. Should we move on? Okay, let me just show you. This is believed that the cut, that cut here takes. Okay, listen to this. Listen to this. It is believed that cut here takes about 3 years to regain its ability to send out and receive vital energy from the universe. Let me hit that again. It is believed that cut here takes about 3 years to regain its ability to send out and receive vital energy from the universe. It is almost like cutting your hair makes your intuitive senses numb to the world around you. Wow. All right. And it says studies have found that keratin, the protein in here, contains a crystalline structure that is similar to those of sacred crystals and gemstones. So you got definitely a whole mouthful there as it relates to the power of the hair. And let me just go into this, whattherapy.com. This has some important things I want to share with you before we go. Just tiger with me a few more minutes. I won't be holding you too long. And this is by Sandra she. Here, our crowning glory. How we style our hair is integral to the expression of who we are or who we want to be perceived, or how, pardon me, we want to be perceived. Consciously and subconsciously, the meaning of hair goes deep. Whether tied up in a bun, let loose, covered, cut close to the head, or colored, our hair tells a story. How we feel and how we are. Having great hair can boost self-confidence, and bad hair can even ruin a day. We may think hair is dead. We can cut it without pain and any apparent harm. Kirlian photography, however, shows an energetic feel around hair. All right, so the Kirlian photography shows that your hair has an energetic feel around it. And as we read from the previous post, there are crystalline structures like gemstones inside of your hair. Being part of the nervous system, as we mentioned before, hair emits energy. I'm telling you. Melanin, which is light sensitive, acts as a conductor. All right, so you see, melanin is what we're talking about here. The spiritual power of hair. The rishi knot, we just mentioned that a moment ago, is said to energize the aura or magnetic field and stimulate the pineal gland. The hair is coiled up on top of the crown chakra to energize the brain during the day and let down to take in lunar energy at night. So there's so many things, there's so many aspects to the hair that we are getting here. You hear? The ear, the ear, here in the ear. And here we are showing you that your wool, your hair, and then the locks now is a different level than your hair, because hair in general, as was said here, the author here was speaking about the coloring of the hair. You know, people color the hair green and red and all sorts of things. That obviously would affect the antenna, for sure. Just to dye the hair, to bleach the hair, to take the color out the hair, you are affecting the antenna, without a doubt. There's nothing nobody can say about that. Now, the color of your hair is another thing. You understand? That's very important. That color of your hair. You have blonde people, you have brunette people, you have red hair people. And we did a program on the shock of the hour about 3 months ago. You know, I can't even remember the exact subject that we were talking about, but it came down to the color of hair. And there was some people with red hair. Um, Scientific evidence has proven that I think they were more susceptible to certain diseases or something of the sort. But anyway, we went into that, showing you that this is not just because somebody here red or somebody here black and someone here is blonde, and it's not discrimination. It's just scientifically looking at the reality of it. I would expect this is a scientific discussion in a man. Yeah. So the reality is now that the different type of hair and hair in general and no hair and all of that has its connection to not just the sun, but the ether and the astral world. That's the point. That's deep. So if you notice, we're looking at this on different levels, different layers as such. Again, the type of hair, then locks now is a next level altogether. Because yes, it could be the curled hair of the black man, you know, and even ones like in the Sudan and Ethiopia and these places that have a different texture of hair, but they still have that curly, easy to lock. I mean, in Ethiopia have how many Batawi and monks that well dreadlocks. That's where the original locks people are, the Batawi monks in Ethiopia. So this is a deep science. Now, what is being expressed here is that the rishi knot. What is the rishi knot? That is when the Zeeks and them, they take the hair and tie it in a curl. You usually see them tie it to the curl and it on top the head. You check. Now this rishi knot is said to energize the aura or the magnetic field and stimulate the pineal gland. You check it. Now as Bobo Shanti, you know, every day is a rishi knot, you know. This is a rishi knot right here. You check it. Now, I know enough man does wrap the turban different. That's why man must wrap the turban properly. You know what I mean? Man just do all kind of thing with the turban and have it down like if it's way behind the back there. No, man must wrap the turban properly. This is how King Emmanuel teach us to wrap the turban. Because if you notice what is being expressed here, you know, so the locks now is in a coil on top of the crown chakra. This is how man move all day on top of the crown chakra for years. Imagine you just doing this for years, every day of your life, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 10 years, 5 years, 1 year as a Bobo Shanti man. You understand? You're actually practicing the hair coil on top of the crown chakra to energize the brain during the day and let down to take in lunar energy at night. And lunar obviously is the moon, and the moon is not there every night. Sometimes the moon out in the day too, you know, with the sun. So that's a science all by itself. But we know basically how man move in public and anything differently than maybe when you're home and you're freeing up or whatever the case is. It's a standard that the Bobo Shanti have of the turban, because the Bobo Shanti is not just turban, you know. The Bobo Shanti turban is a unique turban. You see, Rastafari, and this is no disrespect, this is love. Rastafari, that weird turban, right? That is not Bobo Shanti. Let me tell you clear. It's King Emmanuel turban you have on. It's not a turban you're wearing. You're wearing King Emmanuel turban. If you look at other turbans anywhere in the world, whether it's a Allah turban, a Zeke turban, somebody else turban, there's who?
Thick turban.
Yeah, there are different types of turban, there are different types of wrap, you know. Bobo Shanti wrap is this, it's different, it have a different way of how you do it, it's different. We don't get this from all these people I just called, you know, it have a different look, it wrap a different way. So if you're a Rastafari and you're wrapping your head like the Bobo Shanti, but you're not saying you're Bobo Shanti, I'm not saying you're supposed to say you are. I'm not telling you you're not supposed to wrap your turban. Believe me, I ain't going there. But it would be good that you know that it is the Bobo Shanti turban. King Emmanuel, let me be clear. it is King Emmanuel turban that you are looking at there. So it's obvious that the locks itself is a very spiritual thing. Number one, the hair itself, all over the body, all these little hair on your hand and everything. Even your pubic hair is very, very, very important. You know, I know everybody into their own different things, even when it comes to intercourse and the pubic hair, when they touch together, they emit sparks naturally. So if none there, I mean, it's a totally different science. I mean, it's just reality. You know, I know some people like they're afraid to talk about certain things. Oh, careful what you're saying. What I say, I talking the truth. You know, so that's the reality of the here, number one. And again, I highlight the black man ninth ether and how it's connected to the energy in general, and then must highlight the locks as it's matted together and locked together, and that's the real dynamo. And of course, you gotta treat it and take care of it and wash it properly and make it dry, clean, and crisp, and make sure you oil it with your natural coconut oil and your rosemary oil, and don't get too much of them little funny chemicals to be dealing with your natty. I always believe that as a Rastafari, this industry, this laxing industry that has taken over, we should have been at the forefront of that. Not just marijuana, the laxing industry. In the same way people can go to a salon and get their locks, because a lot of them salon locks, they twist the root. That ain't good. That's not the root supposed to be the strongest. So you can't be twisting in the roots. Sometimes you see people here being pulled and you see the hair pulling from the roots. Oh man, don't do that to your locks at all, man. That is why the Rastafari now, that's why you hear people talking about free locks or freedom locks, something like that they call it. That's the Rastaman locks. You understand? And there's nothing wrong in having an enterprise where you can groom and take care of people's woolen locks. We should have been at the vanguard, or the forefront, I should say, of such a movement. And yeah. But anyway, give thanks to the life giver and the keeper of life. And as you could see, yes, we're there preparing the locks. Definitely. Of course, this is our agency. And wear your locks with pride. Selassie, Jah Rastafari. So what's going on now? Saturday, 7th. Make sure you're in the house. This is the 7th of August. We're in Mosiah Garvey's month, the Terror. Yeah. And this one gonna have a little touch of Marcus Garvey in it. Ramesu II, give thanks to the Honorable Prince Alamase for this wonderful poster that he has created for us. Remember, this is the 3rd of the Living Gods of Kemet. This is the 3rd installment, and this is the contribution lecture. So we are looking forward for your contribution on this one, whatever it is specifically. And remember that the CashApp, you can utilize CashApp Priest Isaac 27. And of course, the PayPal is also available now. That is Priest Isaac's Institute. But remember, it's easy as easy can be. You don't have to think about that and press no keys. Just go to the description below. The link is in the description, and you could just press it, and then the whole thing will be open, and you could make your contribution for Saturday night lecture. Once again, for those who may not be clear of what I'm saying, you don't have to worry. The lecture will be there for everyone to see. It will be there online on the YouTube and on the Facebook and wherever else it will be there. But I'm just showing you that we are opening the door for those who understand the value of it, those who appreciate it, those who know that it is worth giving a contribution towards the lecture. So we make that door open for them. Those who may not think that, nah, I'm gonna spend my money on that, it's all right. It's still there for you to see. That's my point. So definitely we do give thanks. Looking forward to seeing you on Saturday. And this was a wonderful sit down and a wonderful session. Glorify the life giver and the keeper of life, King Emmanuel VII. Adonai God, Jah Rastafari. Blessed love. times.